Good evening. I call this meeting of the Gloucester Community Preservation Committee to order at 6:01 p.m. on Monday, January 27th, 2025. In accordance with state open meeting law, this meeting has been posted as a Zoom meeting and is being held in person at the Rose Baker Senior Center. Will be recorded by video and audio and will be conducted by remote participation as necessary. If you are calling in remotely on a phone, you can press *9 to request to speak. If you are watching on a computer or device with the Zoom app, there's a raise hand button that you can tap or press to request to speak. Please use either of these options to be recognized. Committee members in attendance tonight include Bill Cuff remotely, Carrie McKenna, Harry Hoaglander remotely, Bob Whitmarsh, Mark Poulin, Sean Henry, and myself, Matt Lundberg. Not present are Rob Gullah and Jennifer Lee Levitz. If either of them do arrive, we will recognize them at that time. With that, we will proceed to the first item on tonight's agenda, which is to review and approve our December 17th meeting minutes, which were distributed to the committee earlier. You all should have had a chance to review. Any comments on the minutes as presented?
I think they were well written.
Yeah. Likewise.
I wanted to get that in before Bill did, just one last time.
Very good, Mark. Well, I move then that we accept the 12/17 meeting minutes. Yep. Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any against, say nay. Meeting minutes approved. Meeting minutes approved with one abstention. Two abstentions. Thank you. Very good. Next item, at our last meeting, we reviewed a draft of the 2025 Community Preservation Plan. And at that meeting, we had one more than minor update to it, which was the update to the example of the real estate tax that we added to page 4, I believe it was. I distributed that updated plan to the committee. Do I hear a motion to approve the 2025 Community Preservation Plan as most recently distributed?
I'll make that motion.
So moved and seconded. Any discussion on that plan, the final plan update?
I think you did a wonderful job putting it all together, Matt.
Good. All right, hearing no modifications, then we will hold a roll call vote since we've got a couple of remote people on this one. Bill Cuff.
Yes.
Harry Hoaglander.
Yes.
Carrie McKenna.
Yes.
Bob Whitmarsh.
Yes.
Sean Henry.
Yes.
Mark Poulin.
Yes.
Matt Lundberg, yes. Motion to accept the Community Preservation Plan passes unanimously. Thank you, everybody. All right. Now we come to the main event of tonight's meeting, which is our 2025 Community Preservation Committee informational hearing. We're required by the statute to do this once a year. I'm going to share my screen with you in order to do this, and if you'll give me a second, I'll start that. This will be a 5 to 10 minute presentation with an opportunity for members of the public to ask questions or provide input or suggestions once we are done. So I will start that presentation in a moment. Let's see. There you go. All right, Bill and Harry, can you see that slide?
Yes, we can. Perfect.
Great. Very good. All right. In this presentation, we'll talk about the CPA, how the CPA has been implemented and maintained in Gloucester, a quick overview of Gloucester projects funded by the CPC, a quick reference to the preservation plan that we just approved for 2025, and then we'll open it for public comment. The Community Preservation Act is a Massachusetts law. It was passed in 2000. And it was passed in order to help communities preserve open space and historic sites, create affordable housing, and develop outdoor recreational facilities. These are areas of funding that frequently come under funding pressure in municipalities, and the state's intent with the CPA was to help states set aside money for those projects. The law allows a city or town to fund its own community preservation fund through a real estate tax surcharge of up to 3%. And each year, the state matches those local funds raised with money that comes out of the state fund. The match has historically been 20 to 40%. In this most recent year, it dipped to 18%, which is the lowest it's been for a while. The state Community Preservation Fund is created by taking a portion of all fees that are generated by the Registry of Deeds. And those funds are driven by how many real estate transactions are executed in that year. In the last year, that's been a low number, and that drives that number. Also driving that number is the state's overall revenues and budget. Frequently, the state will allocate additional money beyond what's raised by the Registry of Deeds surcharge. So we hope that doesn't stay at 18% like it has in the past year, but we only know as each year goes by. As I mentioned before, the CPA fund can only be used for one of four purposes: historic preservation, open space preservation, affordable housing, or outdoor recreation facilities. Outdoor recreation facilities and open space from a funding standpoint are considered to be one category. At least 10% of the CPA fund that we raise each year must be used for each of these three categories: historic preservation, affordable housing, and open space / recreation. So in a given year, if we don't approve or recommend any projects to the city in affordable housing, for example, we still have to set aside 10% of what was raised for affordable housing to be used on a future project that might be submitted. As of this year, 200 towns and cities in Massachusetts have adopted the CPA, and there's a wonderful site that we strongly encourage anybody looking to utilize the CPA. That is the communitypreservation.org. They are a coalition that is an advocacy group for the CPA, and they are chock full of great information, some of which I will cover here. The CPA in Gloucester, beginning in 2000, in order to adopt the CPA in a city or town, that needs to be put to a full popular vote of that community. Gloucester attempted to pass it very early on, I think in 2001 or 2002, and that vote failed. The original request was for a 3% tax surcharge. A group that put together that ballot question came back in 2007 and tried again with 1%, and it just barely failed. And in the following year, they got it on the ballot again, and it passed resoundingly. Once you pass the CPA in your town, the law requires the community establish a local community preservation committee that manages your town's participation in the CPA. The City of Gloucester's charter defines the nuts and bolts of that, and if you're ever interested in diving into that, it's a pretty decent read. But there's a few key pieces of it. The first one is that we establish a 9-member committee. It can be larger, I believe, but the key piece is at least 9. 5 of those members are one representative from each of the city's planning board, the Open Space and Recreation Committee, the Historical Commission, the Housing Authority, and the Conservation Committee. There are 4 at-large members that join those 5, and those are members that are picked from citizens of Gloucester that don't necessarily need to be members of other city committees. All right, in addition to putting that committee together, we are required to annually update Gloucester's community preservation plan. Each year's update is usually fairly modest, but it goes through in some detail how we manage this CPA in Gloucester. I think it's now a 27-page document, so it's not a bad read. We are also required to annually solicit public input to maintain that plan, and that's the reason that we're making this presentation. We are also required to review and recommend Gloucester projects for CPA funding, and I'll get into the details of that on my coming slide. Part of that review is to ensure that the projects that we recommend to the City Council do comply with the CPA law, and we work with the city to make sure that grants are managed effectively and within the city's CPA budget. So our timeline. Every February, the city approves our previous year's CPC recommendations, and they also confirm that we have funds available for the coming year. In March, which we are starting into now, excuse me, I should have added one more thing here, which is also in February or the end of January, we open the application process for this year. We start with an eligibility application. The full application for CPA funds is a fairly long application, so before grant applicants go through that, we want to make sure that they are eligible, and so we have a first 1 or 2 page application. It's we go through February for that. The applications are due in March, and we review them immediately. And we let those applicants know if they are eligible or if they need to modify their application to be eligible. That happens frequently. Then we have 2 months for applicants to assemble their full application, and we make available a representative from the committee to be a liaison to each applicant to answer questions through the application process. Those full applications are due usually in early May. And then from May through September, we review those applications, and that review includes site visits if it's a site application, discussions and questions and answers with applicants. We have a presentation from each applicant at one of our meetings through the summer, and those presentations usually take place in June and July. And August. Those are 5-minute presentations with 15 minutes for discussion and questions typically, and that's how they roll. After that, we make sure that we know how much money is available for grants. Usually the number of grants requested are much higher than the funds that we have available. And so we have 2 meetings or more if required to arrive at what we want to recommend to the mayor and the city council. We vote on that, and then we submit those recommendations to the city. Excuse me. Between September and February, the city council budget and finance committee goes through those recommendations. They ask their own questions of the applicants. They recommend to the full city council, and the city council approves it to come back to February. The meeting that we do that in February, sometimes it falls to March. It all depends on whatever business the city council has on their agenda. And then we start the whole process over again. Since 2008, we have the city of Gloucester has provided over $9 million to over 135 projects. This was the breakdown as of 2024. I did not add in the 2020, well, the projects that will be approved in 2025. So the 24 projects, we actually did not fund any open space recreation projects. Then we are in this coming year. So that pie chart on the right will look a little different for 2025. Speaking of 2025, here are the recommendations that we are making this year that have already been approved by the City Council's Budget and Finance Committee and will be going to the city for full approval in the near future. There were 12 projects, 7 are for historic preservation, as you can see here. I'm just gonna go backwards for a second and point out that historic preservation over our history of the CPA in Gloucester has been the largest recipient of CPA money. Affordable housing is taking a steadily larger percentage relative to the other categories, but it changes every year. As I said, 7 projects, these first 6 are all historic, and, 11 projects, not 12, my mistake. We have 2 affordable housing projects that we're funding this year and 2 recreation projects. The CPA in Gloucester, as I mentioned, we have a 1% real estate tax surcharge on. So if you pay real estate tax, an additional 1% is added on to that. It's a percentage that excludes the first $100,000 of value of your real estate tax and of your assessed value. But the amount that comes on a typical house, and Bill, you can correct me on this if I get it right, it's in the plan. It's a fairly small surcharge, but that does add up over all of the citizens of Gloucester. This last year, we raised $877,000. The match, which is the 2024 match, was 175 or 21%, and that's how much money we have to use towards grants. So as mentioned, the 2025 plan is available at that shortened URL, but really what you should do is go to the city's website, in the government dropdown, go to the Community Preservation Committee, and the link to the plan is on that page. As I said, we need your input. We don't take positions of what's more important on the CPC. We try to reflect the needs and the interests of the community. We do reflect the city's plans. So for example, if the city's current ongoing strategic plan, once that comes out, that will inform and update how we make our decisions on the CPC. But mostly, we accept the plans that are eligible, that have been applied for, and then we decide on those. And remember, lastly, if we don't get any applications in a particular funding area, like open space, outdoor recreation, we still have to allocate at least 10% of the fund to those. So, for public comment, where should our priorities be? What would you like to see the CPA do or the CPC do? Do you have any comments, questions, or suggestions? Excuse me. That is the full presentation. I'm just going to check and see if we have anybody online, and I don't think we do. We do have 3 members of the public here present in the room with us at the Rose Baker Senior Center. So if you have any comments or questions at this point in time, you can ask them.
Yeah, I just have one comment. I mean, I think that one of the projects that we're working for.
If I could interrupt you for a second, if you just provide name and address.
Oh yeah, my name is Brandon Hopple. I live at 7 Madonna Drive in Hamilton. I'm president of the Cape Ann Amateur Radio Association. That's at 6 Stanwood Street in Gloucester. And yeah, we're looking. I think that some of the things that we're proposing, I think, kind of fall in line with what you have funded in the past. We have a historic building. It's not on the historic register of any kind, but it's been around since the 1800s. It used to be the Wheeler School at one point. It used to be the Riverdale Fire Department. And it's been, amongst other things, a pigeon fanciers club. It's been currently a radio. It's a ham radio club. We have about 100 to 125 members. We sort of service like an older community. Mostly local people here in Gloucester, but basically from all around Cape Ann. One of your former board people, Hank Carl, was actually president of our club at one point in the past, and was treasurer for his recent passing. It's a fascinating building. It's a fascinating site. It's an interesting group of people that services a definitely a senior community, it definitely skews more towards the older generations of Gloucester citizens. And you know, it's like one of those things where we're lucky to have this clubhouse. We'd like to try to make it a little bit more accessible for folks that have mobility issues. So I think we have a couple of key things that we're looking to do, try to provide some front accessibility to the building while still maintaining the historic character of the building. You know, basically like a wheelchair accessible frontage, maybe motor door to, you know, allow access through that passageway, along with a rear entrance for emergency use, a ramp, looking to potentially redo the front surface of our parking lot so that we could get a lift vehicle of some kind that, you know, someone has like a chair that they can, you know, pull out of a van or something like that, a place for someone to park and pull their chair out. We have kind of an antiquated bathroom situation in our main hall, and we'd like to try to update that, make that ADA compliant if possible. And then look at the reach list, we have a second floor work area that is up a long staircase. It'd be great to get like some sort of stair lift or something coming in there. But we think that you know, based on some of the projects that you've had in the past, if you could even, you know, carve off like a small amount of that, it would be a huge benefit to the senior community in Gloucester and to our members.
Thank you. I know that you've already talked with Zoe Venesinakos, who is our grants administrator at the city for the CPC. Clearly, your application is eligible. It really depends on, is the building itself of historic significance. I believe it's already been designated as such because you've gotten money in the past
Yes, yes.
from the CPC.
I think tonight it's on the agenda, right, as well, so.
Got it. Good. So, yeah, we welcome your application. And if you have any questions as we go along on it, we'll make sure to get answered. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, thanks. And if anyone else has any questions, you can always ask any of us and Zoe. The links to do so are on the CPC webpage on the city's website. Thank you. Moving along, administrative updates. We only have a few, but the most important one is that the eligibility application period begins this Friday, January 31st, and will run through, I think it's March 3rd, I forget, I don't have it in front of me, but it'll be for the full month of February, probably a couple of days. Anybody who has inquired, like you fellas have, you'll get a notification via email or phone call from Zoe to say, here it is. We do the eligibility application online through a portal that the city manages. You know, now that we've been using that for a few years, I think in general, people find it pretty easy to use. It's done well. So that starts soon. So I know we have a few other people who have inquired about eligibility. If you could just share a few, any of the other ones that came through the committee, that'd be great.
So Affordable Housing Trust will be applying, I'm assuming the same funding that they did this prior year. Action Inc. for the tenant-based rental assistance again. Magnolia Library, they might be applying for HVAC, but it's not confirmed. We did the Amateur Radio Association, and then Cuban Museum had two options they might do. So one, I didn't know if it was eligible, so I did reach out to Stuart about that, about adding storage systems. So, and then another one would just be conservation of archival materials, which was eligible. And then that's all we have right now.
Great.
Yep.
Thank you. All right, so I suspect we'll receive plenty more, and usually we receive anywhere from 12 to 18 applications a year. So I would see any reason why we would see the same this year. All right, moving on. The next item I've got in administrative updates is to recognize the fact that this is Mark Poulin, our representative from the Open Space and Recreation Committee, last meeting as a member of the Community Preservation Committee. Mark, we thank you for your service. You've been a great member and you've really put a lot of energy into it. We appreciate that. So thank you.
Welcome. It's a great He was a great team to work with. One thing I liked most about it was whether you were a liaison or not, I think everybody sort of helped each other, pitched in. And you know, they were the one, maybe the main contact, but really at the end of the day, you had the whole team behind you. Help out, answer questions. So hopefully we welcome Kate at the next meeting.
Yes, which was a great segue to my next item, which is taking Mark's place on the committee will be Kate Parsons, who is also on the Open Space and Recreation Commission and will be our representative from there. You've already been approved, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I'm halfway there.
Oh,
I have
got
to
it.
go to the city council meeting tomorrow.
Very good, that's right. So officially Mark's tenure ends on February 15th and Kate starts, so next month, we will have Kate here if the calendar works out. Speaking of which, unless there's any other admin updates or questions that we have tonight. That brings me to the last item on the agenda, which is the date for our next meeting. We normally meet the third Monday of the month. The third Monday of February is President's Day, it is a holiday. And I think there was some interest expressed, when I brought that up to folks of meeting on the 24th instead of the 17th. Am I right about that?
I suggested the 24th.
Yeah, that sounds fine to me. Everybody else okay with it? All right.
Well, that might interfere with the meeting of the historical commission. This is the last Monday.
Okay,
Can you make it?
which is what we did here, right? This is the
Yeah,
second
yeah.
second here.
That's why I make it 5:30.
Actually, that's probably not a bad solution. I'd rather do that. Does 5:30 work for everybody?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I can do 5:30.
Perfect, so Monday, the 24th at 5:30 will be it. Great. Okay.
And Matt, just to remind folks about the invite to the Action Inc. open house on Thursday.
Yes, thank you, Bill. Did everybody get that? Yeah, Action Inc.'s having an open house 4 to 7 on
Yes.
Thursday night, so and they extended that invitation to everybody, so I'll be getting there sometime. All right. So do I hear a motion to close this meeting of the Community Preservation Committee?
I'll make that motion.
I second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously. Everybody, thank you very much. And we'll see you on February 24th.
Nice job, Matt.
Good night.
You did it.
Good job.
And Mark, it was great working with you.
You too, Bill. We'll see you around.
Yeah, I didn't think we'd be able to do it.
Any word on
There was no-